3 miles beneath the surface of the Pacific Ocean, in a darkness no light had ever touched, lay a sunken Soviet submarine. Its hull was cracked open, its crew was dead, and inside it were nuclear missiles, secret code books, and the deepest technological secrets of America's greatest enemy. The Soviet Navy had spent 2 months searching for it and failed. They had given it up for lost forever. But the United States knew exactly where it was, and the Central Intelligence Agency was about to attempt something that had never been done in human history and has never been done since. They were going to reach down 3 miles into the abyss, grab a 300-foot submarine, and lift it to the surface, all without the Soviet Union ever finding out. This is the story of Project Azorian, the most audacious and expensive intelligence operation of the entire Cold War. A secret so large it required a reclusive billionaire, a giant mechanical claw, and a cover story so convincing the whole world believed it for years. It began with a disaster. In March of 1968, a Soviet submarine called K-129 slipped out of its base on the Kamchatka Peninsula and headed into the Pacific on patrol. On board were nearly 100 men, 3 nuclear-armed ballistic missiles, and nuclear torpedoes. Then, somewhere in the deep ocean, something went catastrophically wrong. The submarine sank, taking her entire crew to the bottom, more than 16,000 feet down. The Soviet Navy launched an enormous search, dozens of ships and aircraft scouring the Pacific for 2 months. They found nothing. Eventually, they gave up. As far as the Soviets knew, K-129 was gone forever. But the Americans had been listening. A vast network of underwater microphones, built to track Soviet submarines, had recorded the sound of an explosion on the day K-129 died. Analysts narrowed the location down to a patch of ocean just a few miles wide and then sent a special submarine, the USS Halibut, to find it. Trailing a camera sled deep into the abyss, the Halibut took some 20,000 photographs until there it was, the broken hull of a Soviet nuclear submarine, sitting on the ocean floor. To put that depth in perspective, the wreck of the Titanic lies about 2.5 miles down. K-129 was deeper still. The Soviets had lost it. The Americans had found it. And now, a thought began to form in Washington that bordered on madness. What if they could raise it? The prize was almost beyond imagining. Inside that wreck were Soviet nuclear missiles the United States had never examined up close, the code books and cipher machines that could unlock Soviet naval communications, and the secrets of how the Soviets built their submarines. One official later compared the challenge to standing on top of the Empire State Building, lowering a narrow steel cable to the street below, snagging a car full of gold, and lifting it all the way back up without a single person on the sidewalk noticing. No one had ever lifted anything so heavy from so deep. The CIA decided to try anyway. The plan was given a code name, Project Azorian, and it would end up costing around $800 million, billions in today's money. To pull it off, the CIA needed to park a giant ship over the wreck for weeks without the Soviets growing suspicious. So they built one of the greatest cover stories in the history of espionage. They turned to the reclusive billionaire Howard Hughes, a man so eccentric and secretive that no one questioned his strange and expensive projects. Hughes publicly announced that he was building a massive ship to mine valuable metals from the deep ocean floor. The ship was called the Hughes Glomar Explorer, and the world believed it was hunting for minerals. In truth, hidden inside its hull was an enormous mechanical claw, codenamed Clementine, and a giant opening in the bottom of the ship, through which a captured submarine could be pulled up into the vessel completely out of sight. In the summer of 1974, the Glomar Explorer arrived over the wreck and began lowering its claw on nearly 3 miles of steel pipe. The entire time, Soviet ships circled nearby, watching the strange American vessel, never guessing it was hovering directly above their own lost submarine. At one point, the crew even stacked crates on the deck to stop a Soviet helicopter from landing and getting a closer look. Slowly, impossibly, the claw closed around K-129 and began to lift. And then, halfway up, disaster struck a second time. Part of the claw failed. A huge section of the submarine tore away and tumbled back down into the abyss, lost for good, and with it reportedly the very nuclear missiles and codebooks the CIA wanted most. Only a portion of the submarine ever reached the surface. What exactly the United States recovered remains a secret to this day, but it is known that the haul included nuclear torpedoes, equipment, valuable details of Soviet submarine design, and the bodies of 6 Soviet sailors. In a quiet act of respect, the Americans gave those 6 men a formal military burial at sea, filmed the ceremony, and decades later handed the footage to Russia. The CIA fully intended to go back down for the rest of the submarine. They never got the chance, because the secret was about to break. Months earlier, before the mission had even sailed, burglars had broken into an office belonging to Howard Hughes and stolen documents, one of which hinted at the connection between Hughes and the CIA. By early 1975, the story leaked to the press. Newspapers ran the astonishing tale of a secret American mission to steal a Soviet submarine off the ocean floor. The Soviets now knew the truth, and a second recovery mission became impossible. When reporters demanded answers, the CIA gave a reply that would echo for the next 50 years. They would neither confirm nor deny that the operation had ever taken place. That phrase, born from Project Azorian, became known as the Glomar response, and to this day it remains the standard way American agencies refuse to answer a question without telling a lie. Project Azorian had cost a fortune, recovered only a fraction of its prize, and ended in exposure. And yet the CIA still considers it one of the greatest engineering and intelligence feats of the entire Cold War. The United States had reached 3 miles into the blackest depths of the ocean and pulled up a piece of its enemy's most guarded secret, an achievement so audacious that even now, the full story has never been told.